Hello, I'm Darice, and welcome to Alive with Joy. I'm an astrologer, energy healer, mystic, creative, and I began having what I call these joy talks, where I have people move through a challenging time or a challenging moment and how they use different modalities or spirituality to help get them out of a dark place and into a new place. And I thought it'd be perfect to have this conversation with Dabney Lawless of Lawless Astrology. She has an amazing channel, and I'm definitely going to link that down below.
Thank you.
And Dabney is an incredible astrologer. She has a lot of wonderful people on her channel, and I thought it'd be really helpful to have her have a conversation with her around an eclipse moment, because eclipses, as Dabney often says, they put you on your path if you're not already on it. And sometimes it can feel like a big tarot moment, like if you follow tarot, or, it might be often during eclipse season is where people experience a death or a divorce. And, but before I get too into that, I just want to see if Dabney wanted to add any more to her introduction.
No, thank you so much. And thanks for having me, Darice. It was lovely to meet you a couple years ago. And I appreciate that you've been on my channel as well. And I'm just excited to talk to your people.
Okay. And I'll give you a brief overview of my understanding of eclipses and eclipse cycles. And then Dabney, feel free to chime in if, you need to correct me or if I'm a little off, because I'm still learning as well. But it was really big for me to learn about eclipses. It really helped put a lot of the things I've experienced in context. They're often, I guess, about 18-month cycle, so it can kind of feel like a 2-year cycle. And depending on what sign the eclipse is in, it's going to have a different flavor or energy to it. And what I would notice for myself personally is when we're in this phase where we're transitioning now out of the Pisces Virgo eclipse series and we're going into the Aquarius Leo eclipse series, I always find that like that 6 months or so before the eclipses change astrological signs is when I feel like I'm in between things. That
Mm.
liminal space where, like, okay, I know I'm closing out something, but I don't know what's coming in. And that used to give me a lot of anxiety until I understood that that was part of the eclipse energy. And so I like to break that out for people and explain to them that even if you don't have answers right now, the answers are coming. And so maybe you felt this way for the first 6 months of 2026, where you're like, all right, I know I'm ending a cycle, especially with all the other astrology that we've had in the end of 2025 and most of 2026. It's been a lot of endings,
Mhm.
and we have a lot of new things coming in. And so people intuitively feel it, they sense it, but they don't know what's coming in. And I think if you just have an understanding that that's part of the eclipse journey, that it's okay to be in this unknown in between space. And usually, eclipses, the second half of the year, they clarify whatever you're not sure about. So if you're sitting or if you're wondering, answers are probably going to come. You may not like the answers, but they're going to come. But the thing is, whatever eclipses are doing, I ultimately feel like that, like Dabney says, they're putting you on your path. And classic example, you reached out to me during an eclipse and invited me onto your channel after I responded to one of your Instagram posts. And I had just started my YouTube channel. I was still getting certified as an astrologer. And I was like, oh my God, are you crazy? Like, I don't know anything. And you're like, no, it's fine. Come on. And thank
Yeah,
you
you knew
so
what
much.
you were doing. You've got a great thing going.
No, I really appreciate it. And, and it definitely helped grow my YouTube channel to help me begin to start having paying clients. And so I will always be grateful to you for that. And I wanted to pay it forward and invite you back in, since I know you're on a lot of people's channels. But I'm like, does anyone ever invite her onto theirs? Like, I think I should invite her.
I appreciate that because a lot of people don't. They come on my channel, but they don't think to invite me on theirs. And so yeah, I'm always happy to talk to other people. So thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. And so with that, I just wanted to learn more. Well, if you, first of all, do you have anything else to add to eclipses, the eclipse story overall in general? Like, do you want to share with people?
Yeah, I mean, so one of the things I wasn't taught about eclipses early on in my astrological career. Excuse me.
Mhm.
One of the things like I'm an evolutionary astrologer. And what's funny is we do a ton of stuff with the nodes, but for whatever reason, it wasn't a part of the curriculum when I was learning. And I remember, several years into my kind of knowledge about astrology, hearing about eclipses and really not understanding what that means. And so, I'm not good at the whole technical thing, but basically, it has to do with the position of the sun and the moon and the nodes. So, if it's conjunct, or if there's an opposition, so if it's a full moon or it is a new moon. So you get a full moon when the sun and the moon are opposite one another. You get a new moon when they're conjunct one another. And if they are near the north or south node, that's where you get a new moon lunar eclipse, like it's conjunct the moon, or you get a full moon um, south node eclipse, right? So that can really play a big role in what ends up transpiring, or the clues that you can get. Is it a north node? Is it a south node? Is it something you're trying to release, which would be a south node eclipse? Or is it something that you need to move towards, which is the north node eclipse? And so they're a lot like new moons and full moons, but with a punctuation of your karma, if that makes sense. So that's a little bit, and so that's where, like, the karmic piece, that's where, is it interacting with your particular chart in a powerful way? And, eclipses happen a couple times a year. They usually come in, series of two, like a full moon and a new moon. And they come in like a series. So I'm not going to get too jargony, astrobabble about it, but there's eclipses every year, and certain eclipses are more potent depending upon your chart and your karma than other eclipses. So if it's one that's going to really kind of pack a punch in your chart, just know that it is for your highest good. And other ones, it could be people around you. It could be, more just your community or the country, right? Like, it doesn't always forebode like big changes in every single eclipse.
Okay. And I'm also going to say real quickly, we are recording this ahead of time. So we recorded it about a couple weeks before I put it up. So if something catastrophic has happened in the collective and we're not talking about it, that's why. We have no idea it's happened. And with the way 2026 has been going, God only knows what's going to happen between now and 2 weeks from now. So I just want to put that
That's
out there.
correct. Like, there's going to be 4 lifetimes in between the next 2 weeks.
Exactly. So just wanted to be clear about that. And now,
Yeah.
before we got on, you said that you want to talk about an eclipse experience you had earlier this year and how that's impacting you.
Yeah. So it's funny because the eclipses came into my awareness when they were in the Pisces Virgo continuum originally. And I remember getting a reading from a fellow astrologer who was great. And she was like, wow, I think these are really important eclipses for you because they touch your moon and your Jupiter. So my
Mm.
moon is in Virgo, my Jupiter is in Pisces. And Pisces, the Jupiter is the ruler of my chart. So my ascendant is Sagittarius, meaning the ruler
Oh,
of my chart is Jupiter. So I have a lot of Jupiter energy.
okay.
But I have a lot of Cancer energy. I have 4 planets in Cancer that all ladder up to my moon in the eighth.
Ah,
Okay. So the moon is really a powerful planet in my chart, and so is Jupiter. So when we have eclipses in Virgo and Pisces, either way, it's going to be potent for me because it's going to be triggering something, and Jupiter squares my nodes,
oh, interesting.
my natal birth chart. So there's going to be a karmic connection. There's going to be something karmically triggering anytime the nodes are in Pisces and Virgo for me. So we've had that this year again. I have been fine in so many ways. My life's chugging along, dealing with the world at large, okay? Stressful, just like everybody else, just trying to, get by kind of thing. Well, this past year, just as the South Node was in Virgo, the North Node was in Pisces, and we had the first South Node eclipse on my moon. Now, it's a long story, but I had three cats.
Mm-hmm.
All three of them, there was one cat. I loved all my cats, but there was one that was, ever since we got him, he was afraid of everything. He was just a very fearful cat. He was very feral. He
Mm-hmm.
never wanted to be an indoor cat. He wanted to be an outdoor cat. We had let him be an indoor outdoor cat, but then there was other coyotes and stuff. Anyway, long story. I'm a cat lover, so don't get mad at me for what happens. I was grappling with the fact that this cat never seemed happy. We couldn't pick him up to bring him to the vet. We couldn't pick him up to clip his nails. Like he just never seemed happy. He would let you pet him every once in a while. He's a loving cat in many ways, but just really wasn't, just couldn't relax, couldn't trust. So we had another kitty cat. So we let him be an indoor outdoor cat again, and he seemed little happier. We had another cat, and the cat got sick.
Mm-hmm.
So, and this is all the week of the eclipse, okay? Cat
Mm-hmm.
never had any kind of illness. Took him to the emergency room. And they said, "Oh, I think he has FLIV. He must have caught it from the cat that you let go outside, even though he had been vaccinated." So we
Mm.
didn't know what to do. We started freaking out. We put the other cat outside and didn't let him back in until we could figure out what to do because we didn't know who had this and we couldn't catch him. Anyway, long story short, I'm making a very long story.
No, it's fine. We got time. And what is that disease? I'm not a pet person, so I don't know what that is.
It's a cat. It's like it's terminal for cats. It's not good. And so
Oh.
but it's very contagious amongst other cats.
Oh no.
That's where it was like we had another cat. We brought that cat in for testing. The cat tested negative. So I was like, I don't want this other cat to get sick. Anyway, the cat was only outside for a couple days and the cat went missing.
Oh no.
Turns out it was a false positive on my other cat. So the indoor kitty was okay, but we didn't know that when this happened. We did everything we could to locate him.
Mm.
My guess is he got eaten by a coyote. Very sad story. It was not like we were trying to be. So this is Eclipsy, okay?
Yeah,
An eclipse
totally.
story. And I grappled with this because the guilt was over the top. Like, how did this happen? Why is this happening? Like, I feel so bad. Why did I do this? Like, I was gonna like I was putting a door in the next day. Like, I mean, we had a plan. Okay. That happened during the eclipse. Things sort of settled down. Okay, this is sort of how eclipses can work too. Like right on the eclipse, like something dramatic happens and you don't really know what's happening. And I like
How
what
long had you had this cat?
5 years.
Oh.
I know it was very sad. His name was Mai Tai. And he had just started bringing us little toy mouses to say thank you for letting him outside again. Anyway, it's really sad. Okay. So, eclipses are not always gentle. All right. So, wow. Okay, that sucked. But I had to pick myself up and they had to go back on and everybody else in the household seemed okay. So, like you said, with eclipses, in the beginning, you don't really know what's happening. You don't know why it's happening. It can take the full year to sort of unpack it. And that's even if you're really trying. Like sometimes people are just, floating in the wind. They're not even trying to unpack things. I was desperately trying to be like, what's the meaning of this? Why did this happen? Right? Like, why did the cat get sick, but then he wasn't sick? And then okay. So fast forward. Then we had some things happen with my parents who were elderly.
Hmm.
And their their situation deteriorated quickly. It was not an easy situation. I had in December, my friend was trying to find a cat, and I had seen a cat posted on Nextdoor. So I went to the little, adoption thing looking for that cat to like tell my friend, like, you need to get this cat because I think this cat's going to be so cute. I went and there was a kitten there, and the kitten reached out to me and basically said, like,
Mm-hmm.
coming home with you. You know that, right? Like, I don't know if people who like are animal people, if you've ever adopted
Yeah.
animal, you know that the animal will tell you, like, okay, I'm coming home with you. We were not looking for another cat. We had just been through this big trauma. Our other two cats were kind of settled at this point.
Mhm.
Um, my husband was not interested. All right. I had a very powerful intuition that I had to get this cat. So I said, yes, I want to get this cat. Literally the day after I did that, my dad broke his hip.
Oh
This was
no.
all during the next like kind of phase of things. He broke his hip and my dad has like a hoarder problem and he
Oh, yikes.
is an animal hoarder too. And so he had like a lot of cats.
Oh my goodness.
And I had to figure out a way to rescue all these cats. Like, and I mean,
Wow.
and he lives in New York. I live in California. It was a major, major undertaking. I mean, it was not,
Yeah.
and my options were I could call the SPCA. I did call them and they basically said, okay, well, we can help you, but then we're going to like, prosecute your dad for having all these cats, or you can figure out a way to like have them rehomed. So I figured out a way to have them rehomed. But all the while, I had just agreed to adopt this kitten, which I can tell you right now I would not have done in the midst of all of this. And this kitten was just this weird, like, balm and magic and like safe place for me. The kitten
Oh,
was so sweet, so loving, and like it was like a very constructive, healthy place for me to put my love.
yeah.
And I have a Virgo moon that had been activated by these, right? So there was some teaching here, but I was still not sure what it was. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So we fast forward, the year continues to get challenging. Skipping to the end of the story here, we're kind of closing out on the Virgo and Pisces. We're going to be entering a new eclipse season, even though we have one more Virgo Pisces left. So
Hmm.
I was texting with the foster mom who originally rescued this new cat, Noelle. We called her Noelle because it was at Christmas time when this
Okay. Okay.
happened.
Okay.
And so Noelle's mother and brother still live in her barn, and they're very feral.
Hmm.
She texted me, she said, she's a very lucky kitty because she was brave enough to trust.
Hmm.
And that was to me like, okay, this was what I'm still unpacking it a little bit, but that was the message
And I
that,
think that's what eclipses ultimately teach us all is how to trust.
and yeah, how did, and for me, having the North Node on my Jupiter in Pisces, it's a big part of what I'm here to do in this lifetime is to learn to trust. The
Ah.
Virgo has anxiety. The Virgo holds back. The Virgo wants to be perfect. The Virgo is frightened. The Virgo is like, I'm not good enough. The Pisces and the Jupiter in Pisces is like, there's love to go around. It's gonna be okay, right? So here I had this cat that never could relax,
Hmm.
that like reflected my own fears. And suddenly he was gone.
Hmm.
And a new cat appeared in my life. And like I take full responsibility for the fact that the cat, like how this all happened, but it wasn't intentional. It wasn't
Exactly.
conscious, right?
Exactly.
So,
Of course
when,
not.
you can say like, well, you did it, it's your fault, right? Like, which in a lot of ways it was, but it was also a mirror that like I had to reject this cat in some way because this cat was so mistrustful and and like I think our animals do reflect lessons for us. And the cat just couldn't relax. The cat couldn't um, believe that we were going to let him back in. The cat like had a lot of fear. And this cat overcame her fear. This cat
Hmm.
was feral, but was somehow something in her said, like, it's time for me to go into this family and trust.
Hmm.
And so I think that's part of the lesson for me. And that's the karmic challenge of this because it's that balance for me of wanting to protect myself, wanting to be strong and perfect, and yet also knowing that I can't control anything. Like this is all
Exactly.
here. There's nothing for me to control. So
Yeah.
anyway, I'm not sure if that story is exactly what you were looking for, but that's
It
the
is.
journey I've
Absolutely.
been on the past year with the eclipse. And I think there's something interesting about the fact that the thread throughout the whole year has been these cats, whether it was the cat that got sick, the cat that got lost, the cat that, rescuing, so many cats. And so it's just an interesting thing. And Virgo rules pets too.
Oh, I didn't realize that. Okay.
Yeah. So I thought that was, really interesting. That's how it manifested in my life. And ultimately that's where I'm at today.
Okay. Yeah, I also have the North Node in Pisces and the South Node in Virgo, so I totally get what you're talking about. It's a rough one.
It's a rough one. Yeah, so actually my north node is actually in Sagittarius and my south node is in Gemini, but
Ah,
it's in the sixth and 12th house. So
okay. Yeah.
it's
Well, actually,
very
explain that for
similar.
people who are new to astrology and probably don't know what that means.
Yeah. Well, so wherever you have your south node when you're born, in a certain year or 18-month cohort, like it's going to be in a sign, and everyone around you, like in your grade school, has that same south node sign. But what house it's in for you and what aspects it makes to the different planets is kind of part of your karmic story, or it could be part of your ancestral story, or just your story. And the south node, in the tradition I've learned, is like habitual things that we do. It's stuff we know really well, but it doesn't serve us. And the North Node is where our soul wants to go, but it's harder to get there because it takes conscious effort. And so for you having a Pisces North Node, and for me having a North Node in the 12th house, that shares similar themes, right?
Hmm.
So you look at where your South Node is, your North Node, what sign and house, and it tells a story that can help you get to where you want to go in this lifetime.
Okay, thank you. And how is your dad doing now?
He is recovered. He's
Okay.
recovered. We've got a lot of other issues going on, but like the acute trauma of December through February has passed, knock on wood. Um, and I'm hopeful, I'm optimistic that the next time the Pisces eclipse comes back around, that I'm in a different place. Like I have a different level of healing from everything that's transpired over the past year.
Okay. Yeah, and it's interesting that you brought up trust because it wasn't until you said it that I realized that I think that's definitely what eclipses have taught me. Where am I not trusting myself? Where have I been trusting the wrong people, the wrong ideas, the wrong institutions? Like, I feel like whatever gets ripped out as a result of an eclipse is because we ultimately put our faith in the wrong thing, or that's something that's not serving our soul. And so, since this is going to be up at the beginning of the upcoming eclipse series, and just in particular because it's going to be Aquarius is the North Node and Leo is the South Node, I feel like we're all going to be asked to come up to a whole new level of self trust, during this particular 18 months, just because of all the changes that are going to happen on the collective as a result of that. And that's really been the theme that I've been feeling intuitively. And whenever I talk to people, either on my channel or individually, I keep encouraging people to develop more self trust. I feel like that's going to be a big part of being able to have spiritual and mental discernment around all the crazy, crazy we're probably about to go through. And what is your take on that?
Yeah, I mean, I think very acutely for you, if you're North and South Node or Pisces, Virgo, you've really been on a journey this, past eclipse cycle. And so anybody who has that sort of touch point is going to be on a journey. But with the eclipses shifting into Leo and Aquarius, there's going to be a different flavor. And whereas we were asked to let go of control, fear, and anxiety, the negative, the shadow of Virgo, and to step into trust, belief, magic in some ways, Now we're going to be looking at letting go of the shadow of Leo, which is ego, hubris, narcissism, and moving into a place of things that are represented by Aquarius, which would be fresh ideas, which would be somewhat emotionally detached. That, that can be a shadow of Aquarius, but can also be a superpower of Aquarius. And so I don't have any Aquarius in my chart. I have a strong Uranus, but I don't have any
Whereas
Aquarius.
I have Sun and Venus in Aquarius. So, and they're
Okay.
conjunct. So I know Aquarius
Okay.
very well.
So then you're gonna have another year of transformation because it's gonna be triggering those planets for you. And so, but it's helping you step into the power of the Aquarius, which is a lot more about community and it's about doing things differently and thinking about the collective, not just ourselves. So on a big scale, like we're gonna see like celebrity and influencers differently. We're gonna kind of be like, oh, I can't deal with like these people who are all about themselves, these people that were put on pedestals. We're going to be more interested in more humanitarian stories and things like unions and things like that. But on a personal level, like if, for example, if you have a North Node solar eclipse, like touching your sun or Venus, that can be quite empowering for you. It could be an opportunity for you to like grab the megaphone and be the person that, you know, or it can highlight, where you have to let go of your desire for approval, right? Leo wants approval. Leo wants acceptance. Aquarius is, I don't care what you think about me. And so that can be a really nice place for us to get to where it's like, oh, I'm just going to do what I know is right, not what I think you want me to do. So that's kind of some of the things that I would be looking at. And so in that way, it is all about trust, especially if it's hitting your sun, if like you're an Aquarian sun or something like that. Yeah, like trusting in your own ability and uniqueness to contribute something larger than what, and it doesn't matter what other people like, it's kind of like embracing your inner oddball too.
Yeah. Yeah. And I also think too that since the first part of this at least is going to have Jupiter in Leo, and I think that that's interesting too, because I think of Jupiter as our faith in ourselves as well as just the abundance everyone talks about. And I feel like Jupiter in Leo is an opportunity to have our faith in ourselves be on fire, like to really lean into like the faith and like our vision, like our dreams and our desires for like the higher good, that this is the time to go for that, to really like say, all right, here's how I think I can make the world a better place. And I'm going to go all in on this. I feel
Yeah.
like we're going to have the energy to do that and support from the cosmos to make that happen.
Yeah, and Mars is going to be in Leo in November, and I think it's going to go retrograde in Leo as well this year. And so there is a lot of examining what we need to let go of the shadow of Leo, but also
Hmm.
like what are the things where we can gain energy from the solar light of Leo, which is generosity, playfulness, joy, a renewal of um yeah, just that kind of like optimism.
Right. And then what else besides astrology did you use to help you get through that difficult time dealing with your father, breaking his hip and like all the emotions around what was happening with the cats? Because I want these talks to be concrete examples for people on like, okay, what can you do if you're in a tough spot, like, or if you're feeling stuck emotionally, like, I want people to have some touch points or examples or like, right, here's how you make your way through.
Yeah. And so I didn't even get into all of the nitty-gritty of like the personal details of like how challenging it was with my parents because there was definitely some dark days. But what I'll say is I sort of embraced the karmic nature of it. I
Okay.
sort of kind of recognized that there was something bigger that I was supposed to be integrating during this time. And part of that journey was a childhood friend of mine who was on the ground helping me with
Okay.
with all these cats. And she and I have a very karmically aligned chart.
Mm,
And so she and I took very different paths in life, but like yet have stayed friends since we were in the fifth grade.
Oh,
Yeah, it's really nice. And so that was one thing I relied upon was kind of just like those karmic friendships. Also, I looked at, and so yes, the astrology, I'm an astrologer, so the astrology was like a big part of this for me. I looked at, the astrology of my parents' charts. I looked at just the bigger picture and I kind of came to realize like how the synastry of my chart with my parents. So I kind of
mm,
understand the relationship a little bit more. But what's so funny is like the cat swirl, the like the thread, the backdrop, right? So I also used I work with oracle cards a lot.
okay.
And so that is something that when I was really just couldn't understand why something was happening or what choice I was supposed to make, or I would sort of use those as oracle reflections of what I needed to know. And that would then allow me to kind of, I don't want to say meditate because I didn't sit and meditate. I was kind of in a like trauma state for some of these things. But what I would do is I would just be like, okay, um, what's happening? Pick a card. And then like the message that was on it would sort of bring me back to my own inner wisdom.
Mm,
That's something I did. And then also I realized I didn't have as much to give. So I stopped for several months doing on my channel I do interviews, but I also do one my own videos where I'm giving forecast readings and kind of sharing wisdom. And I came to realize that I'd sort of shut down my channeling, my to protect myself. Like I kind of
uh,
to just like pull within for a bit. And so I kept my channel going, but it was more just like letting other people shine, letting other people talk.
okay.
So
Okay.
that was part of the releasing the need to control everything, the
Okay.
need to be perfect. Like I just sort of allowed myself to feel overwhelmed, in all honesty, which
Mm.
is not something it's not a comfortable place. I usually
But
push.
it's very spiritually wise, and very few people give themselves permission to do that when they're in that moment, when they're having that trauma. And so, if you are in that space, I highly recommend what Dabney just did. Like, I was talking to someone else, it's like sometimes we just have to give ourselves permission to collapse. Like,
Right.
that is the first step in healing.
Yeah, and then sometimes like and it feels awful and some people who collapse all the time, maybe it's the opposite. They have to give themselves permission to get their asses up. But for me, I'm a push through. I'm like I'll get up and I'll walk through the fire. Like that's just how I was taught to rely on myself. And so it's very rare that I get to actually just be like the mess. Like to be the one who just like kind of crumbles into a puddle. So I kept the channel going, but I wasn't really in a place to like tell other people about my wisdom because
Yeah, yeah,
I needed to really kind of um, sit with what was happening and kind of feel like, okay, what can I share with people that will be empowering? And if I don't have anything, I'm not going to say anything. And
exactly.
so, I did some videos, but only when I had something to say. And so
Okay.
dramatically reduced the number of videos that I did.
Okay.
I think that those are some of the things, and just paid attention to signs. Like, and I'm still paying attention to signs. Um, we've got some butterflies in my backyard that have just laid eggs and that became caterpillars and they became chrysalises and now they're
Oh,
butterflies.
how beautiful.
And that has not happened since I've lived in this house for 13 years.
Wow.
So I'm like, okay, that's a sign, right? And so I think I needed that year to do a lot of healing and a lot of self-reflection before this Leo Aquarius year, where maybe I can come out and shine a little brighter. But I really wasn't shining that brightly last year.
But yeah, but I think a lot of people, especially people who are attracted to astrology, spirituality, oracle cards, a lot of them are people who've been pushers, and I definitely went through that phase earlier in my adulthood. A lot of us, we overdid it. We were like the straight A students, we were like the
Right.
overachievers, and so sometimes we need to give ourselves permission to just like relax, like, be a C student for a little bit.
Yeah, and that's a very uncomfortable place. And I think that's a little bit of what that eclipse season's about because Virgo's the straight A student, that Virgo puts that pressure on themselves. And so that was part of releasing that, like, oh yeah, you are kind of not perfect. Oh yeah, you put your cat outside and your cat got eaten by a coyote. Like, wow, live with that. You know what I mean? Like,
Mm-hmm.
so can you forgive yourself?
Yeah, that's a big lesson too for eclipses, self-forgiveness. Absolutely.
Yeah.
So what else would you suggest people do as we go through the Leo eclipse series coming up? Uh,
So I was talking to myself about this because I have a Mars in Leo.
okay.
And it's going to be activated by the eclipses. And I was like, what is going to be the lesson? And I caught myself. Like everybody, I'm not perfect, and sometimes I have black and white thinking, and I've worked really hard to get to where I am. Blah 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 blah. But everything is a journey, and it's all karma, and I'm not any better than anybody else. So I had to kind of catch myself with this thinking of like, I don't know, like overconfidence, like a sense of like it's sort of funny to be saying this because I'm saying I have so much anxiety and I have to be perfect and da 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 da. But then there's another part of me that's like, oh, I got this. Like I can just do that. Like sort of the hubris, right? Like where I was like, I'm gonna have to keep my ego in check, right? Like
Mm,
as I you can become successful and we see this out in the world, these people who kind of buy their own press, like
yeah.
they believe that they're so great because they're told they're so great. And so I think that is not a problem that most people have, but I think when people who are quite successful, they can start to think they can do no wrong. And that's
Mm,
the shadow of Leo. That becomes that sort of like, I'm so great sort of thing.
yeah. Yeah.
So that's one thing to like sort of be cautious of during this time is like understanding that if you are coming from a place of wanting approval, wanting attention, thinking that you're above other people, that's not going to go well this year,
Mm, mm,
right? Like that's the thing that we have to check ourselves where, um, and I think for a lot of people, like the flip side of like, oh, I got this, I can do this, I'm, Wonder Woman, right? The flip side of that is like, well, I want people to love me, so I'm going to do whatever I have to do, like compromising your individuality. And that's something that's not going to go well either. So I think those are some of the lessons, putting people on a pedestal, looking to the leaders to have the answers. That's just this time is going to expose that kind of behavior. Um, I think the leaders that are magnanimous, that are generous, that have their hearts in the right places, that's a different thing. But the ones that are all about themselves, and they'll vote whichever way, they'll will get them more money or more fame or, more social media clicks. That's not going to be favored this year.
yeah. Yeah. I was thinking about it too, and I feel like we're going to be asked to keep playing that I, we axis that Leo Aquarius asks of us.
Hmm.
But instead of it being like a seesaw, we're going to have to move through it like we're going through the infinity loop. We're always going to keep going around and around and around, but it's asking us to integrate. So, where we're out of balance, where we're too into ourselves, and where we're out of balance, where we're in trying to rule over others. And it's interesting too, just thinking about Aquarius energy. I was thinking about this the other day as well. There's always that one side where, like, okay, they're detached and they're cold emotionally, but then they're for the people. And at first that seems counterintuitive. You're like, how can you do that? But I recognize in my own experience, and especially in the work I've done, like as an assistant manager and like coming in with systems, like I had to be detached with like individuals frustrations and people's resentments about changes and things that were coming as we were bringing in new systems, because I saw the longer vision. Like I knew the new systems would help more people ultimately. So I was okay with sitting with people, like two or three people being uncomfortable if it meant things were going to be better for 20 people. And I think that's the core of Aquarius energy. Like we have that ability. Like we can be like, all right, I can suck it up and have six people be mad at me and say horrible things about me if it means 50 other people are going to be better off 3 months from now, 3 years from now, 30 years from now. Like it
Yeah.
genuinely doesn't bother me if I see the longer good for like the rest of the group, and very few signs have that. Like, I mean, I have empathy for it, but like I'm genuinely not bothered by it. I'm like, all right, you'll adjust, you know.
The sky right now is that energy, having Neptune and Saturn in Aries and Pluto in Aquarius and Uranus in Gemini. It is very like it's much more like just getting things done and not
Hmm.
the I'm as progressive as they come. You can watch my channel and you'll see that I'm very progressive. And I live in Northern California
Mm.
and I've seen where progressive ideas can really go like you can just be too empathetic. You can be too like to the detriment of empowering people who are challenged. So I feel like there always needs to be a balance, right? I mean, because I can your heart can get in the way sometimes.
Yeah, yeah,
And like you want to help somebody, but there becomes that sort of thing like with like an addict, like helping them and giving them drugs, is that always
yeah.
helping them, right? Like I loved what you said about the infinity loop.
Hmm.
I'd never thought of that, and I'm totally gonna use that if that's
It
okay.
just came to
I'll
me in this
credit.
conversation.
Well, I love it because I do think that that is, I think that's 100% right with the eclipses because you can't fully take you can't fully shun one or the other. Like it is about an integration, it's about like taking responsibility, Virgo, but it's also like not about being like falling apart and like sticking your head in the sand, Pisces. Like it's
Yeah,
but also you have to trust and have faith and you can't be worried all the time. So like it's really a dance. And so I
yeah,
think it's going to be that dance, but like we are not going to have effective change without compassionate leaders.
yes,
And the compassionate leadership, good leadership comes from Leo. Like it really can. And so there
yeah,
has to be this dance. But if you have narcissistic leaders that sell you out, then you're going to have this kind of more dystopian, detached change that comes in the form of like data centers, right? So,
yeah,
like, we have to look at, like, we have to find those compassionate, big-hearted leaders. Um, and we also have to like innovate to change the world and for the better.
yeah. And I also remind people too to still be compassionate with yourself first, you know, like to, in all of this, it can be very overwhelming and, there can be pressure to feel like I have to fix everything for the whole world. And,
Yeah.
you know,
Hmm. Yeah. So that's what I would say.
Yeah, cool. Well, do you have any other wisdom or guidance overall for people, or if people do find themselves in tricky spots this particular August eclipse series? Like we have the total solar eclipse August 12th, and then the partial lunar eclipse August 28th.
So if you're new to Oracle cards, this is one of the ones that I love. It's Colette Baron Reed's Spirit Animal Oracle.
Oh, I haven't seen that one, but it looks cool.
Yeah, it's a really good one. So, I'm just gonna model what I
Okay.
would do, which is I'm gonna pick a card
Sweet.
and I'll let you know, and that's for anybody who's watching. Um, okay. And I got Eagle Spirit, which is kind of awesome for us people here in the US because it feels like everything's falling apart. And it says, Spirit has your back.
Mm,
And so, and that's like when you're feeling like so overwhelmed and you can't do it anymore, like you can pick a card and it will give you, you know, think of the eagle flying high above the other birds, soaring with the wind. Eagle spirit has appeared to ask whether you're willing to soar to new heights, even if that means solitude for a short while. Truly, all the wisdom in the world is available to you now. When storms flash across the sky, it's eagle spirit that raises you above it all, helping you conquer and overcome adversity, reminding you that Spirit has your back. At this moment, you are meant to know that you have the highest of wisdom, courage. Boldly build your nest in a lofty space and know that you can fly effortlessly, proud, embodying eagle spirit in all her glory, grace, claiming what is truly yours. So
Mm,
that's very
beautiful.
Leo-ish.
Absolutely. Well, as we wrap up, do you have anything going on you want to promote to people? Let them know where they can find you.
Yeah, you can sign up for my mailing list at Lawless Astrology, and then you find out about the classes I'm offering. You can book readings there. I don't have any readings available right now, but I'm going to be offering some classes coming up, and also you get a free beginner workbook for
And I recommend Dabney's classes. I've done a couple of her online classes and like I've learned so much from her as an astrologer. So definitely check out her offerings.
Thank you, Darice. I appreciate it. And yeah, you're always good food for thought when we chat. So I really appreciate being invited.
Yeah, and I'm definitely going to have you back on again for sure.
Awesome.
All right. Well, thank you again. It's been a pleasure. And I always like to tell people, always remember to honor the light within you.